So hi everyone, today in this video we're going to develop another mental model that can be useful for you. That is the mental model of putting to practice the knowledge that you got. And that's all what we're going to do. We're going to apply the mental models by using a lot of themes in order to solve a problem that what is the problem is how to fix the broken education systems, particularly the ones that create what you can call as the global education inequality. And then so it's what you're gonna do. You're gonna use the mental models in a practical sense and showing them what's the real value of knowing them is when so you apply them to kind of increase so the creativity to kind of create so solutions that could be in potential good so to solve your problems since they are mental models. What are mental models? They're representations that you take from the reality. You assume that so they represent the truth, they represent so how the reality works. And then so if you take and use these patterns in your solution, expect so you to kind of be more prone to have like a successful type of solution for a problem because you understand better the real world that you're facing, and then so you understand better what you really so need to develop. And obviously other mental models not that much of a pattern that you take like from economics or things, but some of things they're helpful for you to create solutions like the first principle, the systems thinking. And then so it's what you're going to apply today is in global inequality education. So what's the problem in reality? We have that 1 in 5 children lacks basic literacy numeracy skills. We have the teacher shortage as well, other type of thing that's a problem. 69 million teachers needed by 2030, and the cost of inaction is 10 trillion lost global GDP by 2030. So, what do you know? What's the real problem? Is where so we work in a system that we have limited resources, and these limited resources we have the human the societies that work in these resources and produce economic activities in order so to produce final hand resources that can be consumed so by the population. But the reality is that you need people to get educated, to learn it, to be efficient. And so we rely in getting the people even having education. If the people getting educated at higher rate, we tend so to have a more evolved society since more people tend to be smarter and then so they become more efficient. But reality is that so it's a thing that we're not seeing. We're seeing that still a lot today. We have a lot of children that have not got educated, and also this translates when they so become an active type of elements in the society when they're so they pass the childhood, and then so they become someone that's not efficient and then so doesn't contribute for GDP, which so doesn't increase the value. It's not so getting optimized value that they call the aggregate for the society, making so the life for everyone a bit worse. And then so that's where we have to focus. We have to focus in this problem. And obviously this problem you have to map it a bit better because it's not like a recursive effect, it's just one thing that you have to handle so to reach to your problem. Probably is a problem that in kind of common with other types of problems, you kind of rely in a lot of causes that determine so the specific event that is the problem. So you have to map it to understand all these type of elements that are important. So what's the first principle? The first one that I would like so to use a mental model that can really help us to rebuild from scratch the problem. So the question that I've made as well is what is education actually for? So what it is, the actual type of reason for why I got people to get educated is them so become successful people in terms of being efficient, in terms of contributing for economy, for society. So in the proposals is like we empower the critical thinking, the knowledge that people have in order so them to apply in the practical sense that is so where we get the value of getting educating the people and then so them producing things that are useful for the population. So what do we have as well as other type of core truths? So we kind of have to make it easier to people to get educated at their max level that so their intellectual their type of genes can so make them up. And then so the reality is that we have to analyze the things that's probably so make incentives for the elements of the system getting educated and the ones so that are not so helping. So Another type of core truth is that building one school is equal to the price of two luxury cars, which so is something that uh, it's not something that we would wish, because if it's so kind of so difficult to build schools, if it kind of values the same as two luxury cars, means so that it's a type of element that is a bottleneck to make so more people getting educated, because as much more schools that have a tendency to exist, more so we have a tendency to educate more people, and not just like have high type of classrooms that we cannot particularly so optimize the experience for each one individually. So what you have to focus is becoming the people to get incentivized, but as well increasing their experience to make it so them improving more is where. So we have to focus if we look for first principles. So we have to incentivize, making easier people so to go for school, to remain on school, and you have as well to work in your systems methodologies that you pass for them. So in order to them having the right tools, and obviously during their process to the brain mature, that happens mainly so when you're younger, and then so obviously things that we have to focus, and these obviously so we have to map the elements that can impact on that. So we have to bit low to have to we have so to make a bit of the systems thinking, so map a bit of the failure point that don't allow us so to make this objective that the first principles have so clarified that we're seeking for, and that so what do we have to handle. So what we have as a current system, we have the government, that's so they kind of so in the governments in their country. So we have underfunded schools. The underfunded schools create overworked teachers create dropouts. Pain points: outdated curricula like the rote learning versus the artificial intelligence era skills. Another thing that we have to look: the no internet access for 50% of students in developing nations. What could be a real world fix is Estonia's digital education systems, that 99% of schools have online programs. Could be a way to solve the bottleneck, so that this doesn't exist enough schools. So make it easier people to have access by kind of putting so a platform which they can get materials to study. Could be something uh, to think about. And mainly so in countries that they're not rich and they cannot invest money in infrastructures that are like so the school. So could be a way. It's the smartest way, the type of action that have most type of upside in comparison. So with the cost that comes with doing it, I'm so a big supporter of education system getting a bit more digitalized. Another type of thing that you can use is the inversion. So avoid the worst case, looking for other ways to solve problems is as well looking for what makes it worse. So what I'm trying to get that is people so getting educated, and then see what are the things that make it worse and try so to not make them exist. So what are the answers for how to worsen education? The cut teacher training budgets and the ban local language in classrooms. So what could be inverted solutions is invest in teacher artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT lesson planners, and mother tongue educations like the Uganda could dropout rates 40% with this. Another thing that you can use is like looking for lateral thinking, so still a bit from tech and nature, innovations and things that as well tend to happen in tech and nature in terms of archetype, the archetype of the system. That so we have elements that I want them to act in a certain way, that so people getting more educated and learn, but then so I have to kind of get them with the stimulation that they need so to develop to get and use these tools. So what could be type of archetype of system that is kind of close that what happens of in real life. So with the problem of education in nature and tech, we have the open source software, the Khan's Academy free Google courses that we have today. That's a lot has taken a lot of success. We have the hand colonies. You can take from hand colonies what decentralized learning, so peer-to-peer tutoring models could be another type of alternative to act to solve this problem. We have other type of way, that is the tech, looking for tech X, and what could be solar powered offline servers like the Raspberry Pi classrooms in rural India, and the VR field trips for kids without textbooks. Example is the Google Expeditions. Another thing that you could look is for the opportunity cost. So invest or lose. What's so like the problem? We have short-term savings versus the long-term gains. So investing in girls' education, it could come so with the 2.8 GDP return, or in terms of the trillions. We're talking about trillions investing in girls' education. A lot of countries, we don't see investment in girls' education. The reality is that it has to spend a bit of money in short term to so getting more this type of people to go for the school, but it's kind of a thing that you have to accept the trade-off that is so losing money in short term to make it so educate this type of population more in the future that so culture will generate long-term type of upside economically talking. But it's something that's difficult because we live in type of world that we have a lot of populism, and then so with populism it comes with actions that just prioritizes the short-term impact of our policies, and then so doesn't contribute to a sustainable world in long term. So I expect this video as make you gain insight. I expect it was enough so to make you like the channel, to subscribe, and hope you to see in a next video in this channel. So thank you and see you in the next one.